Hi everyone, this is Crafty Emmy. In this tutorial, I'd like to show you how I worked on these 4 earrings that I made from polymer clay and some metal components. I'm just going to show you some tips and tricks on things that might help you along the way. And also, I'd like to say thank you to all the people who left really nice comments, or liked, or subscribed based on my last polymer clay tutorial where I made a beginner bracelet. Hopefully this video will be just as helpful to you. Okay, we're going to start with this pair of earrings. The first thing I'm going to show you is how I worked with how I made the little green flat piece. And so what I'm showing you here is that I basically rolled out the clay, and I'm using any shape of a cutter that I have to cut out 2 even sized pieces. And so I'm rolling them into little balls, and then I'm going to just show you how I flatten them. You can do this as well with round cutters, but I don't have that size. And then also, you probably saw in the last video, I used baby oil or even olive oil to remove the clay from my hands. You've probably already noticed that it's really hard to wash the clay off your hands, even with Dawn soap and water. So oil is really helpful in taking the clay off your hands. Okay, so here I'm just going to use my little glass frame, glass side down, to flatten the little spheres. And I'm just applying even pressure throughout to get them to be as equal size as possible. Okay, and next I'm going to show you how I made the cutout on these pair of earrings. You can use the same procedure for the little teardrop in the previous pair of earrings. But basically, I'm going to roll out the clay, and I'm using these little levelers. I don't know what you'd call them. These little risers I made from popsicle sticks, and basically in this section here, I've taped 2 pieces to make like what I call my small, like basically the thickness of the clay, what it will be when it rolls out. I also made actually a large pair, so there are 3 popsicle sticks taped together. I'm using cornstarch here because my clay was sticking to the surface, but remember, you could also stick your clay in the freezer for 5 to 20 minutes if you're having trouble with really soft and sticky clay. And so basically just cutting out the pieces with my little metal cutters. And then I'm just taking the little circle and just kind of trying to shape it a little bit better while it's still soft. So I was having trouble with my clay getting bubbles, my flat pieces getting bubbles in them. And so what I'm doing here is showing you a trick I learned from the Polymer Clay Tutor. I'll post a link to her YouTube channel in the description. And basically, I took a piece of copy paper and 2 tile pieces with the flat side down, and just sandwiched my flat pieces of polymer clay in between, and just put this in the oven. Be careful with the paper. You don't want to have a fire. Don't let that touch your heating components in your toaster. And here I'm just showing you that I like to put my toaster oven on top of the stove just for safety reasons when I'm baking. Okay, so in the next part, I'm showing you how I attached the backing to these pair of earrings, which is basically just glue. I just used E6000 glue. You can use another type of jeweler's glue, but I have E6000 on hand, and it's always worked really well for me with polymer clay. So I'm just gluing the backings to the piece of clay. Okay, next up are these round little spheres, and what I did is I baked these spheres. So these are already hardened. I took an X-Acto knife and then just cut a flat end where I could attach the earring the metal component of the earring. And be careful, because the little round ball, it does move around. You should do this when the earring is warm. So if your earring already cooled down, the polymer clay piece, you can stick it back in the oven for about 8 minutes, and that'll help to warm it up to make it soft to work with. And then I'm just showing you that again, I'm using E6000 glue and just gluing the flat component to the back, to the flat part of this earring. So these are really easy. Okay, next up, I've taken out of the oven all of my flat pieces, and I'm going to show you how to make the little hole for the jump ring. I used to do the little hole with a toothpick when the glue was still unbaked, but sometimes on the flat pieces it will distort your piece. So using something like this, a pin vise, mine came with all these drill bits, which is pretty awesome. Is so much easier. Polymer clay, even when it's hardened, is pretty soft to work with, so it is with no effort whatsoever. You can make these really clean, professional looking holes for your earrings. I'll post a link in the description of this pin vise that I got on Amazon. Okay, next up I'm just showing you the basic how to varnish your components. I'm just using a toothpick to hold the piece so I don't touch it with my fingers. Okay, and next up, I tried to film how I put the metal, the jump ring, basically, how I attach the pieces together with the jump ring, but unfortunately I had a lot of technical difficulties through my own fault in filming this tutorial, and so you'll see that it's kind of blurry, so I'm not really going to go into detail on how I did the wiring. I'll do that in a future video, but these are done. I think they look pretty cute. And then here the same, I'm just showing you how I'm putting it together, this particular pair of earrings. And this actually is from a bracelet that I bought specifically so that I can cut it up and use the components. The bracelet cost me $1 and I bought it, like I said, for that purpose. I'm gonna just take this pin with a loop at the end and just start attaching the pieces. But you can buy jewelry, like costume jewelry, that's like cheap, not expensive, just particularly for the pieces, so that you can use the components for, you know, for fun, to make your own jewelry. Same thing, this, I didn't film this very well, I again apologize, it came out blurry. And in this next section, I'm going to show you the same thing, how I put this together. These little silver discs are from a costume pair of jewelry that I also bought specifically for the purpose of taking them apart and using the components. The pair of earrings was like $1. It was $1 actually, and each earring had like 7 of these little discs hanging from it. So I knew that I could make a lot of earrings from that one pair of earrings. But you can also do that with an old jewelry that maybe, you know, an old necklace that has a lot of beads or something like that, or you've lost a pair of earrings, you just have the one earring left, you know, take it apart and save the pieces. You can do something with them later. Anyway, so that's my tutorial. Hopefully you got some good ideas watching it and maybe got inspired. In the future, I'll try to make another tutorial where I kind of go more in depth of some troubleshooting some things that might be frustrating you. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.